Tiny Racer, released in the year 2020 for Nintendo Switch, courtesy of Ice Torch Interactive. Let's get into it. First off, if you are hoping to play this game with your Pro controllers, then you might as well put those away because you can only play this with the Joy-Cons. Because in the year 2020, we have a game that only uses the Joy-Cons. God forbid that your Joy-Cons drift because that'll be a pain in the ass playing this thing. Second off, you have 3 modes of play in Tiny Racer. Arcade, which is a quick race. Tournament, where you play in tournaments to unlock the rest of the game's tracks. Of the game's 15 available tracks, only 2 are selectable from the start. And the time trial mode for trialing time and stuff. There's also local multiplayer for up to 2 players, and, well, so I'll be blunt, this is not very good. It's a racing game that wants to replicate the experience of playing with toy cars, what with them bouncing all over the place, and to be fair, when cars fall a great distance, they do bounce, and seeing them careen off the tracks, as they often do, is funny. It's not so funny when you're trying to win a race and you not only have these bouncy physics that can easily knock you off your game, forcing you to respawn, but you also have wonky collision detection where the slightest bump will cause a massive crash or whatever. This is easily evident when you start the race and you're trying to get past these cars, and one of them slightly nudges you and it becomes a mess. Controls are basic. Left stick steers, A button accelerates, B button brakes in reverse, and your right bumper thing respawns your slot car whenever you press it. They theoretically work, but playing with these cars are not fun in the slightest because of the physics. Because handling is kind of floaty, they drive more like cardboard boxes on wheels, and also no camera options. You have the one camera view, and it's not always the most ideal because you don't always get a clear view of what's ahead, which often means crashing into things or careening off course into the abyss below. And when you're off course, either you'll automatically respawn on the track or you'll be stuck in place and you'll have to respawn yourself. The latter offers a much more amusing sight at times, but not necessarily a good game. Also, sometimes you'll hit invisible walls and you'll bounce. Sometimes you'll bounce for no good fucking reason. These are telltale signs of a very bad game, particularly a very bad racing game, a genre where you have to finish first and solid physics complemented with a good collision detection is paramount to good racing games. Tiny Racer lacks both of these essential features. So Tiny Racers apparently is also an Android game, and it shows. The cars lack definition, almost looking cardboard-like in appearance. The various settings you race in can be described as slightly above Sega Dreamcast visual quality, and also a bit samey in the themes. You got some decent looking scenery, mind you, but when I think toy cars, I'm thinking racing on tabletops or kitchen counters or what have you, and not in forest hills or beach sides or whatever the case may be. There's also some onomatopoeia that pops up with each collision, which is cute, but that's about it. And sound-wise, the engines are ear grating, the bumps lack weight, and the music is stock, generic, forgettably bad stock music. Nuff said. Overall, Tiny Racers is, well, it's not a good game. Worst game of 2020 according to Metacritic, I'm not enough of a judge on that count. But compared to some of the other worst games that I've played over the years, Tiny Racers seems pretty tame. At best, it's another phone game ported to Switch, and further proof that Nintendo doesn't care about quality control on their Switch eShop service. At worst, it's a game you spent money on. In any event, Nintendo Switch has plenty of superior racing or driving games you could choose from, and almost all of them are better than Tiny Racer.